Shane, you'll have to unmute yourself there.
Sorry, there we go. That's live for you. Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. Very exciting show on this morning, and we've got our final for the most innovative use of Zoom in education, which has been a phenomenal interest from across the education sector in Ireland. We had over 18 schools that have entered in the last over the last few weeks. We are absolutely stunned with the quality of the videos. They have been just absolutely brilliant, and we're trying to sort out who the finalist is today. We've got our expert panel, which we'll introduce in a few minutes, which is Doug Remington and Seti de Klerk, and of course I'll be handing over to Leo Colgan as well. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is we've just put together a short 2-minute video of all the entries, literally 18 schools worth of content, and I'm going to share that out to you guys, and hopefully you'll enjoy this. So I'm just bear with me, and I'm going to, okay.
Thank you very much, Shane. And you're all very welcome, guys. I think you'll agree that was some fantastic footage there in Shane's video. So I'd like at this point to introduce you to our guests and our guest judges, Doug Remington from DTEN. Doug, if you'd like to show yourself, and Seti de Klerk from Flipped Classroom. Doug, we're delighted to have Doug on board, and DTEN and his company have very kindly sponsored today's prize, and we're delighted you could join us. And Seti, I'm sure many of you will have seen on one or two of our webinars for the education piece. So Seti, again, it's great to have you back, and your expertise in this area is much welcomed. So if I can hand over to Doug to say a few words. Just before I do, a little bit of housekeeping. There is a Q&A at the bottom of the screen. Feel free to ask the guys questions and ask the entrants that are going to speak about their entry as well. Feel free to ask them anything they want and anything you want. And also there's a raise hand, and we'll have a bit of time at the end. So Doug is going to say a few words, and then Sethi's going to say a few words, and then we're going to introduce each of the entries where a nominated person from that school will introduce their entrance. And then, of course, we'll have the vote, the Eurovision contest style vote that we have planned for you. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to you, Doug.
Thanks, Leo. So thanks very much. Hi to everyone joining the call today. It's a privilege to be involved in this event, this competition. Spent a lot of time over the last week reviewing the entries and was just blown away by the effort that's gone into the videos that people have put together. There's a lot of work there. But even more so, the things that people have been doing and across the schools for the teachers and the pupils is inspiring, right? To enhance learning, well-being, and just general communication. So I watched the videos with a little bit of help from my family. So my wife is a primary school teacher. When we had children, she started going part-time and does tutoring. And so when COVID hit, she had to stop her tutoring, but she then, with a bit of encouragement from me, went over to Zoom. She's complete technophobe and was terrified of using it, but I think that's kind of testament to how simple it is. I've managed to train her up in 20 minutes, and she's using it almost every day now. So, you know, my children are going through that experience of distance learning. So I've seen it from the two of them. They go to different schools, and I see how schools have, you know, had to try and change so rapidly to keep them engaged and, you know, connected and you know, interested in what they're doing. So for me, the biggest thing for this competition is just the ideas that people are doing to share those and take the time to share those is going to benefit a lot of other schools and children. So, you know, thanks to everyone who's taken the time to do it, because I think there's huge benefit and a big learning curve for a lot of people. In terms of the prize, you know, our DTEN, D7 devices, we're really confident that's going to be a great addition to the winning school from today. Probably a lot of people haven't heard of DTEN. We're quite a new company, but we're a strategic and a hardware partner with Zoom, and everything we do is being built kind of in combination with the Zoom team to simplify the experience. So I'm sure people have had experience of using devices, and they're maybe not the easiest. There's complexity, lots of devices and cables, and I've had some challenges around it. But everything we've done with Zoom has been to kind of simplify that experience. These devices are all in one, right? So you literally take them out of the box, you plug them in, you can put them on a stand or on the wall, and they're perfect for teaching. So the 55-inch screen, you can see your class really nicely. And you can annotate over content, you can whiteboard, you can then save that content to share it with the class afterwards. The other thing that's nice is they've got very good cameras and mics all in the devices. So if you're doing, you know, there was some amazing entries with dance classes, artwork, drama, music. You can move around and do the thing the way you want to teach, and the cameras and mics can track you around the room and capture it really well. So it's great, not just for traditional teaching, but for all these other wonderful activities that people have been doing. In terms of the future of where it goes with education, we are now releasing in a couple of months a 27-inch device. So if people need to teach from more remote, a smaller kind of personal device called the Me, which is coming out in a couple of months, and also another one called the Go, which is for schools who maybe have existing screens that they want to leverage. It's everything but the screen. So it's an all-in-one device that will connect to your existing screen. And the thing that's going to be unique about that is it will come with a touch panel pad that you can walk around with, but it won't just be to control the device. You'll be able to mirror what's on the screen and annotate, and the closest thing to having a touch panel whiteboard without having to touch the board. So all that stuff is coming. But that's enough about that. I just want to wrap up, and I want to wish the best of luck to all the finalists. I think to get in the top 5 is amazing. They're all amazing entries, and you know, I hope that everyone on the webinar gets something they can take away from these videos that they can take back to help them in their teaching in their schools. Thanks.
Great, thanks a million, Doug. we're big fans of DTEN, as you all probably can tell. When we first came across the DTEN product, we installed it as a demo in our meeting room, and it is what we all use on a daily basis now. It's a fantastic device. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Sethi up to say a few words. Sethi de Klerk is based in Thailand.
Yes. Last week we marked week 13 of distance learning. So it's been quite the journey. And I'm sure that every single person right here watching this webinar has experienced a very similar thing. I think if there's one thing that I think everyone can take away from all the submissions we've seen and just from everyone coming together here as a community, it's just how much effort and work teachers have put into this, experience. And how our students are always at the center of everything we do. And I think that really came through in all videos. So it was incredibly hard, incredibly difficult to pick, let alone a top 5, but a number 1 or a number 2 is incredibly difficult because you've all been absolutely amazing and brilliant. I make a lot of YouTube videos, and so I know how much time goes into producing a video and getting it online, and the quality of the submissions has been absolutely brilliant. This is in a time when everyone is at home, nobody can interact with each other. You can't get together in the staff rooms. You can't get together and brainstorm about your videos. You can't get the ICT teacher on it or someone else who already knows certain programs. And the way that everyone's just jumped to the challenge and really came together and used the technologies available to them, it's been brilliant. And long after this competition is done, I think you can still use all those videos that have been shared and that are now live on the internet as examples of just how much can be done and just how much you've done. And I would say every single school, if you've made a video, and even if you wanted to make one and you haven't submitted it, still share it with the community, share it with your students and with parents. And because I'm a huge fan of creating over consuming, and I think this sort of exercise in creating content, I think it's been brilliant, and I've been absolutely blown away by what you've all done and what you're all still doing. So I actually just want to say thank you to every single teacher in this webinar for all the amazing work you're doing. So that's my short little introduction there.
That's great, Sethi. Thanks very much. And really looking forward to hearing what you think of the entrants as we play them when it comes to voting. So guys, it's time to have a look at the entries. What we'd like to do is take each entry one by one, and we'd like to invite the spokesperson from each school, the bid manager, if you like, to come up and introduce themselves and their school and their video. So first, we're going to start off in alphabetical order. We're going to start off with Clare Castle National School in County Clare, and Hilary Parkinson is with us. So Hilary, if you'd like to come up to the virtual stage. Hi Hilary, how are you today?
Good, thank you. And first of all, thank you so much. We were really delighted to have been shortlisted. We really appreciate it.
Well, all 5 entries, it was so hard to pick, but all 5 entries, the top 5 are just outstanding amongst all the videos, so very well deserved. So Hilary, what I'd like you to do is just say a few words and introduce your school and your video, and then we'll play your entry.
Perfect. Well, I suppose initially when the lockdown happened, I mean, it was a daunting prospect for everybody involved in education. You know, how do you progress children's education remotely when you're not face to face? And it was very much uncharted waters. And that was the inspiration behind the track that we used, which you'll see in a couple of minutes, because Zoom did help us to survive. And I suppose it maintained that face-to-face communication, and most importantly, that connection with the staff, with the parents, and especially with the children. In our school, we did have a little bit of experience with Zoom before. Our principal would have been quite familiar with it, and we had done a STEAM twinning and cultural exchange project with a school in South Carolina. So straight away, the principal downloaded or got the professional version, and we all downloaded it, and it was so user-friendly. Everybody adapted to it so easily. I suppose just expand a small bit on what you're going to see. So the Monday messages from our principal, Mr. Maloney, they were virtual field trips as well. And They gave the children an insight into Martin that normally the children would never have got of the principal, because the places he picked were actually places he had been to. And the feedback we got from parents was actually the children couldn't wait for a Monday morning to see, where's Mr. Maloney today? With the audio aspect as well, obviously, as instruction and greetings, we were able to use it for things like, say, recording Irish text. To support parents, because homeschooling was a completely new departure for them as well, so that the children and the parents would have an actual point of reference that they could listen to. In our school, we weren't in a position to do live classes because we had surveyed our parents, and because most of them were working from home, online devices, they were online, so use of devices during the day was an issue. So therefore, we use the video to record and to teach remotely by recording the online tutorials across all areas of the curriculum, using all of the tools that Zoom could afford us. But two things we found particularly useful was we were able to use it for video personalized feedback to the children. The children were giving every week, sending in samples of their work, and we could correct that work and then share that screen with the children and give them personalized feedback as to what worked, what they needed to maybe improve on. Also, our SET kids, we were able to continue their specific programs through the video tutorials, which was fantastic. You'll see mentioned in the video as well, there were 31 different webinars. They were individual topics, but that actually equated to 162 webinars done by our staff. So the opportunities for professional development from Zoom was just fantastic. We had over 450 hours of staff engagement through meetings, leadership and management, board and management staff meetings, class group meetings. We had CPD training on well-being. Again, none of this would have been possible without Zoom. I suppose the key thing is it was fun. Look, online education was a steep learning curve for everybody, but Zoom made it easy as it could, to the point that we're continuing with Zoom next year. We're going to be running our choir online through Zoom, because obviously face-to-face choir won't be an option. We'll have further projects with schools abroad. We have our live table quizzes next week, our pizza party next week. We have live class engagement next week. I suppose just to finish, look, Zoom gave us an air of normality in a completely abnormal situation, and it made education possible, and it was just a fantastic tool for us.
Great. So Shane, if you could play the video.
Started using Zoom, oh it was vital in our school. We grew strong, we learned how to move along. So every week our pupils get a Monday greeting and the news they don't want to forget. The boss man shows their reading stats and achievements, that's a fact. He even picks a famous place the kids can see from their own space. And then there's how we say hello, sometimes with sound, but then sometimes we use a video to hear a lovely story read, or put maths inside your head. The teacher's never far away with Zoom contact to save the day, but schools must meet to plow ahead. And with Zoom we've got decision making right on trend. We use polls to take a vote and break out rooms while we're remote. We even use the Zoom backgrounds to add fun in these dark times. In turn, we'll have the meetup that they yearn. That's all great, thanks to Zoom. They have saved us from our doom.
Great stuff. That's amazing. So at this point, normally there'd be a huge round of applause, but unfortunately we're all clapping in our own way. So next up, I'd like to invite Ciara Ní Driscoll to the virtual stage from Gael Colosha Limni in Limerick. And hi, Ciara, how are you today?
Hi guys. I'm just, that was just brilliant. Yes. Congratulations, Hilary and Claire Class. I'm still smiling. I've been smiling for a long time. That's absolutely brilliant. Thanks a million for having us. We're absolutely thrilled to be shortlisted. It is such an honor. And I suppose, like, look, Zoom has just, I suppose, you guys have felt like partners with us throughout all this. So we're delighted now to be here today as well. So I suppose just about our school, we're Gael Colosha Limni, we're a co-ed school, post-primary, about 660 pupils. And I suppose we were kind of well set up in a sense that we had all our students have iPads and, you know, so we'd be fairly well versed now with technology. But I suppose from the very beginning, I suppose there's two main elements that stood out to us, and that would be, I suppose, the learning and then the well-being of the students and communication. So in relation to the learning, I suppose a lot of teachers delved into the pre-recorded classes, but were anxious to do the live classes. And I suppose we quickly learned that it's a completely different beast, you know, teaching online classes. And like sometimes, you know, initially before delving into all the features of Zoom, you kind of felt like you're talking into the abyss a little bit, and it was difficult to know whether students were engaged or not. But then you see, I suppose with the polls, then we learned that it was important to poll students regularly throughout the lessons, and then the breakout rooms. And throughout the whole process, we were always getting feedback from students, and they were the two things that stood out again and again. They loved the polls and the breakout rooms where they could work together and continue that sort of group work. So that was, you know, Zoom was amazing in that sense. And then I suppose the most important thing for us was the communication piece and continuing the support, in particular with our most vulnerable students. So we were able to track students in our own way and then pair them with teachers. But it was the communication that has increased and has been enriched, has been with parents. And that has been outstanding. And that's something that we're going to take forward with us next year. So we're looking at next year and saying, well, okay, it was a very challenging time, and we most definitely are looking forward to getting back into the classroom. But what are the bits that we're going to take forward with us? And most definitely it would be that strong communication piece with teachers, and other things like, you know, we used webinars. We had an Olympian in giving a webinar, and webinars for parents. So I think overall, like Zoom is something that we'll have to take with us, because it has been our lifeline, and it has enriched communication like we didn't have before, and we didn't have before. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Shane and Leo and IMS and Zoom for really kind of helping us on this journey, and congratulations to all the other videos. They're just brilliant as well. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ciara. And let's see your entry now.
DTEN Corda. In Gael Colosha Limni, Zoom has allowed us to stay connected, continue collaborating, learning, and most importantly, ensure ongoing engagement of students while on their learning journey. We've been creating pre-recorded lessons and motivational messages, but most importantly, classes have continued across the school. Here is a peek into some of our classes.
Here you make ein lump of the floor focus jack in vascon.
Here students share their work together, homemade instruments in this case. In maths and chemistry, the whiteboard feature has been great, allowing multiple users to annotate on a shared whiteboard. Real-time assessment of understanding has been important for teachers and students. Here Adele is keeping engagement up with Kahoot.
Annabeth, vi sinna gart ag deithnear a gcuimh, so
the live classes are great in Zoom for getting feedback from teachers. Next best thing to the classroom, you know. Breakout rooms are great for group work, so when we left the classroom, group work was kind of gone, but when we had the breakout rooms in Zoom, they really helped with bringing that group work back to the classroom. And the live polls, they're absolutely brilliant as well to keep everyone interacted and engaged in the class.
Continue with assemblies, staff meetings, subject department meetings and student council meetings have been really important for student voice. Our amazing SEN department have been able to continue their important support of our students, and we all love a Zoom quiz. Since signing up with Zoom and IMS, we've been making full use of ieducate.ie with excellent webinars and support. Through Teach Meets, we have been sharing our experiences and trying to enrich live classes. The school hosted a wellbeing webinar with guest speaker and Olympian Jessie Barr. And we were able to meet all of our incoming first years and break them up into smaller groups and breakout rooms where they were more comfortable to ask questions. Every day we think of new uses for Zoom, and we continue to innovate with our students leading the way.
Fantastic stuff, Ciara. That's brilliant. Even though I've seen all these entries time and time again, I keep on being blown away every time I watch them. They get better and better. So next up, we have Pádraig O'Byrne from Gortskehi National School in Mayo. If you could come up to the virtual stage, please, Pádraig.
Yeah.
You're very welcome. How are you today?
Good, Shane. Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, there's Leo.
Or Leo, sorry, Leo.
Pádraig, do you want to introduce your video and say a few words?
Yeah. We're a small rural school in Mayo, and our target group was the pupils in 4th, 5th, and 6th, and our aim was how we might match what we had been doing in the classroom as closely as possible on Zoom. So the first thing we did is we surveyed the parents, and we got 100% sign up from them, and they voted for 3 days a week, and they also sent in feedback on what times might suit them. So we wanted to come up with a framework that could easily be activated sort of at the drop of a hat next year on snow days, for example. And we had lessons on Monday, live lessons Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, about 6.5 hours a week on average contact time. And apart from like occasional scheduled absences like a pupil dental appointment or something, we had 100% engagement from the 27 pupils in those classes. So on Monday we had English, history, geography and science all sort of rolled into one lesson. And something that we found brilliant for that was a podcast from an independent podcast publisher called Wondery, which is, I think everyone should check them out. They're absolutely fantastic. They produce immersive podcasts, and there are two productions in particular, American Innovations and Imagined Life. And American Innovations, they do like they'll take you, for example, to go back to Alfred Nobel, take you through his life. They're about 30-minute podcasts, but we split them down into 10 minutes. So we play them for 10 minutes. The pupils listened. 6th class might, for the first 10 minutes, they have to ask questions and the others have to answer them. And that was those podcasts were the framework that everything else hung on. So we took in, for example, Alfred Nobel. We went to Stockholm on Google Earth to visit the Nobel Museum. We looked at his time in St. Petersburg, so you're bringing in a bit of history there. We linked it in with, we have a partner school in Finland, where Sweden is the minority language. So we linked up with them on eTwinning, and we tied all this in together. But the podcasts were absolutely fantastic, and we found that podcasts were something that worked well on all their devices. We tried YouTube clips, but they were glitchy for some. The podcasts for all 27 on tablets, phones, and everything worked fantastic. On Tuesday, then we had maths, and the SET teacher joined us on maths. And with the multi-class situation, we split up. We tried it all together the first week, but it just didn't work. So we had 4th class from 10 to 11, 5th from 11 to 12, and 6th from 12 to 1. And we used our books. That was the closest to the classroom. We used our books, and then we did some interactive lessons there on weight and capacity and time and everything else. Wednesday, we had some Irish, and another subject which we picked was drama. And we did a little project where the kids had to, we picked a recitation. It was a humorous recitation called The Day I Scored the Winning Goal. And all the kids had a couple of lines each, 2 or 3 lines each, which they recorded at home and sent in. And then we stitched them all together to produce a 5-minute video of the complete recitation. Again, we had 100% participation in that, and it really went viral locally. We had 2,500 views after 4 days on Facebook, and it's just a lovely souvenir of this whole difficult time that the kids will be able to look back on. And just something that Seti said there earlier was that I could definitely relate to is creating content is definitely the king, and having the pupil center stage. We tried to do that, and especially with that little drama project, we had guest speakers in, again using our European links. We had someone from Austria, and the kids had prepared some questions about what life was like in Austria and school over there. and how that was similar and different to what life is like here in Ireland during the COVID-19 crisis. So that we also had the local priest in, which you'll see in the video in a second, and the kids presented their COVID time capsules, which they had created and saved as PDFs. And yeah, no, we really enjoyed it. It's been a fantastic time, and thanks a million to IMS and ieducate for the package. We will definitely be continuing on with it from September. We've been using Adobe Connect on eTwinning, which the Commission and the national agencies really push, but there is no comparison with Zoom. Zoom has been, the education package has been an unbelievable discovery. So from September on, we'll be switching to that for our eTwinning and Erasmus projects. And thanks a million.
Great stuff. Thanks, Pádraig. And let's have a look at your entry now.
We use Zoom for maths. The teachers use digital whiteboards like at school.
And the third room she has is 7 meters. It's the hall. Okay, this is the hall. Like 2 meters. Okay. Now, the area, will you find out the area of those 3 rooms in your copy?
On Zoom, we can see each other's work. We created COVID-19 time capsules, and we share photos of what we're making at home with each other and with visitors such as our parish priest, Father Michael.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thank you, Caleb.
Really well done, Caleb. You put a lot of work into that. Well done.
Yeah. And I love your ideas, the way you're building things and the way you're doing things outside, and you're very creative. Yeah. Very creative. So keep up all that good things. I'm sure you're all doing something similar.
In history, we learned about Alfred Nobel and the invention of dynamite.
Together on Zoom, we explored Stockholm, where he was born.
We also invited a teacher from Austria to tell us what life is like there at this difficult time.
Are you doing online classes in Austria?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Because we have the same problem as everywhere in Europe, that stupid coronavirus, because pupils are off from school for 6 or 7 weeks already, and they will continue to stay at home for another 1 or 2 weeks, and then only afterwards they get back to school. So it's really the same as in Ireland.
Thank you, IMS, for our Zoom education package.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Pádraig. Inspirational stuff there. So next we have Scolvera Clarenbridge from Galway, and we have Susan Rush, who's going to join us. Hi, Susan. How are you today?
Hi. Good now.
Are you nervous seeing all those entries?
Yes, definitely.
Would you like to introduce your piece, please?
Okay, so my name is Susan Rush, and I'm a teacher at Scolvera Clarenbridge, Galway. And in these strange and extraordinary times, Zoom has really been a godsend for our school community. And we've had lots of very moving and heartwarming experiences thanks to Zoom. Our virtual Grandparents' Day, which you'll see in our video, was truly special. There's no other words to describe it. We met grandparents from near and far, and our oldest participant was 90 years of age. And we realised that Zoom, there's so many possibilities for Zoom, that we could meet groups of scientists, engineers, artists, or even meet children from other classrooms around the world. And I suppose as teachers, we were talking about it and we said that Zoom is really breaking down the barriers and allowing us to reach further than we ever have before. Zoom is helping us to look after the well-being of the children in our school, and their faces light up when they see their teacher and the children in their class, and this has just been so lovely to see. And we've been able to organise numerous well-being activities on Zoom, for example, meditation, yoga, even qigong classes for the pupils, the parents and the teachers. We had a special ceremony for the 2nd class pupils on the day that would have been their communion day, and we're busy organising a Zoom graduation for 6th class that will be held next week. Zoom has even given us the opportunity to connect with secondary schools and we've had a Zoom call with the sixth class pupils, their teachers, and their future secondary school teachers, which has been amazing. Our school has really embraced Zoom on the go, and all teachers have downloaded the app to their phone and their iPad. And we've actually been able to make our Zoom calls from the seashore and the farm. And some teachers have had mini beast hunts around their garden. So that has been fantastic. We have every teacher has a visualizer in our school, and we've used this for our live lessons. And you'll see this in the video as well. Not only has Zoom made it possible for the children to continue learning, but it's also helped our teachers continue learning. And it really has been a lifeline to help us continue our professional development. From attending webinars to our staff meetings, we've even managed to squeeze in a couple of coffee mornings for the teachers. So it's really helped us stay connected. And we really feel that Zoom has become an essential educational tool that we will continue to use in the future. And we'd really like to take this time to thank the IMS team that has helped us to migrate to Zoom Pro licenses, and to the excellent tutors that have been there throughout the whole journey. I suppose we could not have foreseen or predicted or been prepared for this pandemic, but they do say that every cloud has a silver lining, and Zoom has really helped us to develop deep bonds with the children, the parents, and even the grandparents of our school. And I suppose for that, as a school, we'll be truly grateful forever. We've had so much fun on Zoom over the past couple of weeks or months, and I really hope that you enjoy watching our video. Thank you.
Thanks a million, Susan. Very kind words there. So let's have a look at your entry.
Good morning, all.
My granddad is a banjo maker.
Play the tune for me. This is great to be able to see them like this.
Since COVID came, it's not the same. When Leo says it's okay, I'll be on my way.
Harry, thank you so much.
I've missed him terribly.
What's one of your favorite memories?
Outside all the time, and we went for long walks.
Bye.
Hello to all the boys and girls in School Wirra in Claren Bridge.
It's like a rainbow. That's so beautiful.
Yes, chemical reaction.
It looks like it's spinning now.
Namaste.
Stop.
Higher or lower than 6 in the 9. 6 times 11.
Go.
Oh, excellent.
Right.
Yes, bingo!
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Susan. That was fantastic. I'm glad I'm not one of the judges. I'm finding it very hard to pick a top 1, 2, and 3 here. So next up, we have St. Anne's Community College in Killaloe, County Clare, and we have Marty Ryan. So Marty, if you'd like to join me on the stage here. Hi, Marty, how are you today?
Not too bad. How are you keeping?
Yeah, I like the microphone. You're all set there. So would you like to introduce your video and tell us a little bit about making it?
Perfect. Yeah, I'd love to. First of all, thanks so much for having us to present today, and well done to everyone else. It was fantastic to see how different schools are adapting to all of it, and I've definitely learned a lot from seeing all the other entries, so well done to everyone else. So my name is Marty Ryan. I am a professional musician and a music educator, and the project I'm presenting you today was done with St. Anne's Community College in Killaloe, and I was approached by St. Anne's during the crisis to design a music course based around creativity that would engage all of their TY students, regardless of their musical experience. I was delighted at the challenge because I know firsthand the ability to create and express yourself is vital in terms of getting through difficult times. So we designed a brand new course called Remote Songwriting, which was specifically to be taught through Zoom. And Zoom itself was essential in making all of this happen. And I discuss how we managed to do this all through in the video, but basically with the 4TY classes, we wrote, recorded and mixed 5 original songs, all completely remotely. And it's amazing to think that we're all able to do that without ever having been in the same room as each other and without having met each other. I think there's lots of bands out there in the world that have been together for years and they haven't even managed to do what we've managed to do through this over the last few weeks. So I was delighted to be a part of it, and it all went fantastic, and I learned a lot from it actually, and a lot of things that I think going forward I can change, and that the school will as well. And creating music is such a personal experience, and the environment has a big part to play in it. And sometimes a traditional classroom environment can be a little bit difficult when it comes to creativity and expressing yourself. And the fact that we could do these courses through Zoom and this workshop through Zoom from the comfort of the student's own home actually had a huge impact. And if anything, it kind of made this ability to write music in large groups even better, because students could go off and break out into their own rooms and chat to themselves in this kind of safe, comfortable space where they're just able to express themselves. So again, like I said, this will be explained further in the video, but at the end of all of this, our classes have 5 original pieces of music that they created themselves entirely through Zoom, and they'll have that for the rest of their lives, and that makes me so happy and proud and delighted for them, and they all did fantastic. So yeah, thanks so much for having us, and I hope you enjoyed the video.
Thanks a million, Marty. Looking forward to seeing it now.
Hello, my name is Marty Ryan. I'm both a professional musician and a music educator. Both sectors of music and education have had to adapt greatly in these unprecedented times. Zoom has proved to be an invaluable tool for facilitating my work and has allowed me to continue doing what I love the most, which is inspiring young people to be creative and to express themselves through music. Over the last 4 weeks, I have carried out songwriting workshops in St. Anne's Secondary School in Killaloe in partnership with Music Generation Clare, all from the safe confines of my home recording studio. During this time, I worked with 4 different TY classes to write, record and mix a song of their own creation. We use Zoom to host weekly class meetings where we discuss the students' musical interests and develop those tastes into a musical direction.
Quite dark lyrics, but the upbeat music kind of suits it.
Breakout rooms were then used to facilitate lyric writing between smaller groups so that ideas could be shared and be heard equally. Finally, we were able to record instruments from my home studio directly into the Zoom classroom using the original sound function and flexible audio configuration inputs that is found in the program. Creating music is such an expressive and personal endeavour that carrying out these workshops where the secondary school students could engage and participate from a space in which they were comfortable allowed for the students to create incredible pieces of music. All of the music in this video was written and created remotely through Zoom, and in these challenging times, the need to create has never been greater.
Lined up like imposters, what do?
Amazing stuff there, Marty. Many thanks for that. So guys, I think we all need a little breather after that. It's we're going to take some time to vote. What's amazing for me is to hear the stories behind the videos and the entrance, and makes you think differently about them even, you know. So I'm sure Seti and Doug, you've a bit to ponder. I'm sure you probably had your top 3 in your heads, but after hearing the stories, that might have changed. So what we're going to do now, guys, is we're going to take a couple of minutes breather. We're going to just, Shane is going to put up a slide here with just a picture of each entry, and we're going to take time to vote. So we're going to launch that slide, and then we're going to launch our voting poll. And you can see the countdown clock there. So please take time to vote, and feel free to put comments into the Q&A as well. Okay, so I'm sure you'll all agree that was a very, very difficult decision. So at this point, guys, we have the results, and Shane is going to share them shortly of the audience poll. So at this point, I'd like to bring up Sethi and Doug to the panel. So guys, are you ready? Are you still?
I love how you mentioned, good thing that you don't have to vote. Yeah, we're stuck with it.
I'm delighted. I'm just enjoying the entries and hearing the stories behind them. It's it's inspirational stuff. It's quite emotional actually when you see the effect that it's had, and it's great to be involved in this project. So without further ado, what we're going to do here is I'm going to share my screen, and we've got a voting card. So what we've got is the 5 entries on the left. The marking system is going to be, we're going to give Doug and Sethi are going to give me their top 3. And then Shane is going to share the audience poll results, and we'll get the top 3 from that as well. And if you get a number 3 vote, you get 10 points. You get a number 2 vote, you get 20 points. And if you get number 1 vote, you get 30 points. And the winner is the winner. Okay, so we're going to start with you, Doug. If you'd like to give me your top 3 in reverse order and maybe say why you chose them.
Yeah, I will indeed. And it is incredibly tough, and it was tough to start with, but after hearing the stories, it's really hard. I mean, but I've had to make my decisions, so I've made them. So I'll let you know, and I'd love to tell you why I think they're so great. So number 3 in 3rd position, it's Marty and St. Anne's for me. And for the music, I I'm just sitting there going, I wish I had this for my kids at their school, right? That's just awesome. And I think there's a lot of talk of us creating content. I just think, you know, the use of the technology and bringing people together. I love music, and I know in Ireland music's a massive thing, right? So I just think it's a great thing to pull everyone together, and just the fact that, as Marty said, you know, they'll have that forever, which is really special. So great job. On to number 2. So number 2, for me, I've given to Claire Castle, Hillary. Again, I think I just love the video for a start, right? I love the whole piece of it, that it's so much fun, the music, the singing, but also, you know, just hearing the story as well behind it is the breadth of the use of the platform, and you know, it seems like almost every aspect of the school, right? So, and even just hearing the additional pieces from the story behind it, I think just so many different uses, and what we hear is, you know, the use between the students, teachers, and also parents as well, these things that are going out. I think it was really strong. So, and we've watched that video a few times just for the music alone. It's great. Okay, so I'm going to go for my number 1, and before I want to give respect to all of them, but after long hard thought, I'm going to go for Clarenbridge and Susan. The thing that swung it for me, I think there's again a very broad use of the platform, from, you know, traditional classes through to lots of connection points, the yoga, the field trips, bingo, dance, fitness. There's everything in there, right? I especially loved the science experiments. I think they were awesome. You know, capturing those from people's homes was really good. And then I think the virtual grandparents day was just, you know, that's the icing on the cake. That was so special. So congratulations. Well done, everyone. Thank you.
Doug, that I can see it was a tough decision for you, but thank you very much for that. Sati, no pressure. Over to you.
No pressure. Incredibly difficult. Amazing work, every single school. I've been absolutely blown away by the videos, and it's so incredibly hard. I've made multiple lists and sort of different check boxes, and then I started ticking them all, and then changing things around, and then ticking sort of different objectives and things I was looking for. So my number 3 is going to St. Anne's. And the reason for that is because of that focus on creation over consumption. So that is really, for me, that's what did it. And, you know, I'm always, whenever I see teachers or anyone for that matter, motivating students to start creating, that is just something I love, and I will keep shouting it. And then also the fact that it's a course that was developed and that can now be passed on to many more schools, which I hope you will do. That is brilliant. And then my number 2, which is actually very interesting looking at this, is going to Clare Castle.
Oh.
So my number 2 is Clare Castle, and the reason for that is because, first of all, it's super original. I love the fact that it's sung, that you've got the school heads starting. That is brilliant, and also those greetings that you're mentioning and that you sort of showed in that video. I really hope that that is something that continues, because I think it's so important for students, and this is something I've seen every day just going into schools, and that connection between students and who runs the school. Almost, it shouldn't be a scary room where they're sent. It should be someone who's approachable, and I think that was really clear in that video as well. And then also obviously the breadth of different activities and sort of how Zoom is fitting into all those little subjects. And then my number 1, this is for a number of reasons. First of all, again, I saw very clearly creation over consumption. And so things were shown in the video, and I know everyone's waiting. Things were shown in the video that could have easily just been a YouTube video that was pulled in, but it was done by the teachers themselves. And that's what made a difference to that student. And also the different activities that are all focused around wellness and around this idea of mental health for both staff and students. And then finally, including family members and getting every single member in the family involved. So Clarenbridge is my number one. I absolutely love the idea of a virtual Grandparents' Day. I love the fact that you're getting the entire family involved. So many people have been at home, they've been by themselves, they've been lonely, and you're getting them involved. The science experiments, again, that could have so easily been a YouTube video. There's hundreds of videos of the rainbow experiments. There's hundreds of videos of the Coke and Mentos. Yet you had the teachers do it themselves. And I think that's what really did it for me. So that's my top 3.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Sati. So before we launch the audience poll, let's just see, we have 2 runners at the moment. So Skullvera, Clarenbridge are out in the lead on 60, and Clare Castle are on 40 and can overtake them with a top 1 score. So Shane, can you please launch the poll results? You might name the 3.
I will indeed, Leo. I'm going to share the results now. Very, very interesting. So here we go. So you should all see the shared results coming up. This is from the live audience poll. So again, we've got what looks to me there as a 7% St. Anne's Community College with a score of 10. And we have, after that, we've got Clare Castle with a 20, and I think just confirming what the other judges have said, the audience, and we've hundreds of people in the audience right now, so it's really an endorsement to the winner, and yeah, so well done. That's
Guys,
the results.
We have a winner, Skullvera Clarenbridge. Congratulations! At this point, we can all clap. I think. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So and thank you so much to all the entrants. I think it's astonishing that everyone has voted the same way, but it's not to take away from the other entrants, because I think you'll all agree that it's just been an incredible occasion here. So without further ado, I'd like to bring Susan up from Skullvera Clarenbridge, Susan Rush. And Seti and Doug and Shane, if you could join us up here, please. Hi, Susan, how are you?
Hi, thanks so much.
Congratulations.
I know this will mean so much to the kids and the teachers in the school, so thanks so much.
It's absolutely amazing, and it's a ringing endorsement of your entry. You got a perfect scorecard, 90 from 90.
I'm in shock. I can't believe it.
Doug, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, it was a team effort from the principal Sean Holian to all the staff members, the children, the parents, the grandparents. It was a real team effort, and I know they're going to be so happy with this news, and we absolutely have loved using Zoom over the past couple of months, and it's really helped us have so much fun, and it's just been so great to see the children on Zoom every week, and just thank you to all the children and the parents and the teachers and principals that have got involved with putting together this video. So,
brilliant.
We're very excited to use Zoom next year in our classroom.
Good to hear. Doug, would you like to say a few words there?
Just a big congratulations. I think there's some consistency in the thought. I think it was a really special video and use in general. So that's fantastic. But again, I just want to go back to the other guys as well. I mean, it was every single one had ideas that I want to take away and send to the schools that I know. there's pieces that come out of each one of those that I think, people can learn from and improve, and, improve the experience within teaching and distance learning. So it's awesome, but definitely big congratulations to Susan and Clarenbridge. Well done.
Great stuff. Over to you, Shane.
Well, I guess when we started out this project, it was to get some conversation in the education sector in Ireland about what the different things that people are using Zoom for. It certainly achieved that. We've had some great chats on Twitter and LinkedIn and posts, and not to forget the other 17 other entries and our wonderful finalists. Absolutely phenomenal. The efforts that everybody has put in has just been brilliant, and all the other entrants that didn't make it to final stages, they've just been wonderful. So I really hope that that this sparked interest in what you can do with Zoom and how you can use Zoom in a classroom environment, and that there's ideas that people, if they're a little bit nervous about getting involved in video conferencing, that this has actually lowered their maybe inspired them a little bit to actually get involved and do some things. So again, well done again, Susan, and we're very, very happy that you guys have won.
And Sati, over to you.
The same thing. I mean, huge congratulations. It is just, I think that the fact that the audience and Doug have voted the same makes me feel good because it was incredibly difficult because, just seeing all this innovation at work and just everyone helping each other, I think we can move forward now and use every single submission almost as a playbook with just ideas that we can then share. And if we do have what used to be called a snow day, which will now no longer be called a snow day, I think we can look at that playlist and sort of get ideas of things to do. But yeah, again, congratulations. It's definitely well deserved. And everyone in this top 5, it's just, it was incredibly difficult, not to take away from obviously the amazing thing you've done, but it's just, I've loved watching every single video, and I've watched many of them more than once. So thank you, everyone.
Excellent stuff. Shane, do you want to wrap up before we close off?
Well, no, I think everybody has said everything. It's as I say, I know we've got the other panelists on the call, and maybe if they'd like to turn on their cameras, and we just get just to we can see if we've got Padraig and Kira and Marty and all coming on, and we've also our backroom team. We've Dennis and Angela and Earl, who've all been very busy in the background. Maybe you guys would like to turn on your cameras as well. We get a full house out for the front for the end, and it was fantastic. And as I say, you all are winners. It's been brilliant to be involved, and we're looking forward. Hope you get use out of your new DTEN screen, which is, we have one ourselves actually in our boardroom, and it is used heavily. It's a great device. Really just makes things so simple to use with Zoom. It's so we'll be catching up with you, Susan, to find out how you guys are getting on with that. And
well, I'm coming up with the guys to install it, Susan. I want to see the school, and I'm really looking forward to that. Guys, just to finish up, by the way, Susan mentioned online graduations and events. There's still some room in our workshops on ieducate.ie if you want to sign up. We're running workshops for primary school online events over the next couple of days, so have a look at that. Shameless plug. One of the things that we just wanted to wrap up with was we did get some entrants that didn't qualify for the voting because they were a bit long, and they were, one in particular was from a school in Tullamore, St. Joseph's School in Tullamore, and we all absolutely loved it. But it was 5 minutes long. So we've asked the guys in Tullamore to their permission to play us out today with their entry, and I think you'll find it's a great way to finish up today's occasion. So without further ado, Shane, if you want to play that and play us out.
Thank you so much for everybody for joining the webinar. I really appreciate it. So I'll play out this song now. So.
do if I sang out of tune?
Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ear,
And I'll sing you a song.
And I'll try not to sing out of key. Oh, baby,
someone to love.
Yes, I'm certain that it happens all the time.
What do you see when you turn on the light?
I can't tell you, but I know that it's mine.
sure feels like mine.
I will love from my friends. You love from I will love from my friends. You are gonna try. I will love from my friends. Do you need anybody? Just need someone to love.